Wednesday, people. How are you doing this morning? Thank you so much for being here. Freezing, yes, right? Winter again. It blew in. Welcome to 1 Million Cups. Any newbies in here this morning? Anybody that hasn't joined us in the past? Well, welcome one and all. My name is Evan Anderson. I get to be your MC this morning. I'm really excited because we're really fun stuff today, so we're going to jump right in. So if you have the app, you want to MC the app, please check it out. If you don't have the app, please get the app. Thanks to our sponsors, and we've got two new sponsors up on the slide today, Daniel Companies and American Banking. So thank you to them for hopping on board. We really appreciate all of these folks. Want to give a little bit of a shout out today to the Israel Family and Chamber of the City. They were very involved in the genealogy in New York Times. Find us today on that. So for any of those that aren't in the Chamber of the City, realize a very high percentage of their membership is like are businesses with less than 10. So I think there's kind of a perception out there that Chamber EDC is for the basics and all that. It's certainly for them too, but super appropriate for those of us in businesses that do such a great job of supporting us. So, what is 1 Million Cups? All but one of us know this. So, should we let her in on it? All right. So it's a free weekly program where we're going to put entrepreneur, community builder, or maybe a couple on stage to talk about their story, tell us what they're up to, what are they trying to accomplish. It gives us the opportunity then to maybe ask some more questions, give us an opportunity to offer some suggestions, make some contacts for them. And why we're doing this is because we are really trying to change the face of our startup community. So hopefully you get your coffee this morning. It tastes a little better on a cold morning. All right, so at the end, as I mentioned, we're going to have a Q&A period. So the best way to do that, we're going to have a mug runner. There's a microphone that will just raise your hand. We've got a question, and I think Peter's running late today. We'll get the mug to you, and you can ask your question. If you're out watching the live stream today, you can actually just tweet hashtag 1MCNT or on the Facebook live stream. Type your question in there, and he's going to ask that question. So participate about questions. That's what really makes this thing is the question and answer. So please think of those hard questions, those challenges, folks, but also give some encouragement. All right, community announcements. I think I've got a couple of slides there. Yes. Now serving general public. That's you. So if you're looking for the vaccine, it is now available to the general public. So probably do that, but I wanted to throw that out there. Also, Strong Towns. I think Janya announced this last week. Voting for this one. Oh, I love that. Good. Get your phones out because we actually are to the next level now. Semifinals, I believe. Final four. And who are we competing against? Oh, shoot. I didn't know there was going to be a quiz. We're going to find out. So, anyway, this is getting pretty exciting. It started out with a pretty good sized group of towns, and we're definitely getting into that rarefied air. So, vote with every email address. I'm just saying. Which is about 12 strongtowns.org. Lockport, Illinois. They got nothing. Kidding. All right. We have, yes.
What are you guys doing for lunch next week on Wednesday? Huh? I said next week. Guys. What are you doing next week? Yeah, okay, so 1 Million Cups is having last lunch Wednesday, but it's going to be first lunch Wednesday. So
place any seating that you're at in our bar, you'll be able to do it for the gram. So we'll have walls such as my Mandan, Maiden Mandan, and excuse my language, we're even going to have the bitch wall. So this will be a full chalk wall that you'll be able to wine and tell us all about it.
So obviously, as you can see, we have some ideas for the best Instagrammable areas in our space. We have about 1,600 square feet, and when we were putting together our thoughts on the build-out, we knew we needed at least 4 to 5 different Instagrammable opportunities. Even the bathrooms are going to be Instagrammable. We're going to have full-length mirrors in there so you can get that perfect mirror selfie and post it. We want you to take all those plandids, you know, the planned candids.
Now, why us? Why do two publishers want to get into the bar restaurant industry? We believe that with our combined 10 years of experience in entrepreneurship, marketing and branding, and customer service, we can offer a whole new aspect to the bar industry. And actually, I've had quite the extensive experience in the food industry, and so we plan on using a little bit of that knowledge when starting. And since we presented, we've actually found 2 mentors within the food industry that plan on helping us throughout this entire process. Now, when we talk about the economic impact that Wine More will be bringing, we think it's going to be extensive. Not only have we found what we believe is the perfect location and blank slate in Mandan for our location, it's going to be a huge build out that we plan, and then we also plan on creating a ton of jobs, creating that sales tax as well. And then we also want to partner with multiple people within the Mandan community as well as Bismarck. We want to locally source all of our bruschetta toppings and also create different events with catering companies in order to grow Wine More and other businesses. Now, none of this is possible if you're not making money, right? So we believe that our initial investment is going to be about $200,000, and we plan on funding that not only personally as well as a traditional bank loan, but also the fit-up investment from the landlord will help with this as well. Now, based on some of our calculations, we believe that we should be able to break even by the end of year 2 and profiting in the green by year 3.
So we're looking at about a $22,000 a month income, or I shouldn't say income, in sales revenue, and we have 4 different ways of getting that. The first one being liquor. So we're looking at about $17,000 per month in projected liquor sales, having about 200 tickets per week. The average ticket is going to be about $22 on average, and actually, since speaking with our mentors that are in the industry, they have confirmed that number for us and said very much that that is spot on. So we're really excited about that. And just FYI that all of our liquor will have about a 70% markup. The second source of revenue will be bruschetta. We're hoping that about 50% of our guests will indulge in the bruschetta, making that about 100 tickets a week, and upping that $22 by $9.50. The markup on bruschetta is also 70%. Our third revenue stream is merchandise. Our average price per merchandise item will be about $25. We plan to sell about 20 units per month, and the average markup on that will be 50%. And our final source of revenue, we're looking at letting people in to use the space for their events, and we're hoping for just about 1 per month. Obviously, that's going to depend on what time of year it is and the season. And we're looking for a $500 food and beverage minimum. And then if you're going to look at having it, on like say a Saturday night, we would have to do something like a restaurant buyout. So obviously, we have a few goals that we would like to hit here within the next 2-3 years. We would love to do expanded hours, special events throughout the week. Currently, we wouldn't be open on Mondays, but maybe we would open up and do Bachelorette Mondays, have a happy hour special, and the show projected all over the space. We're looking at hiring a bar manager at some point. Obviously, Hannah and I are very excited to dive right in, and this works with our current Bismarck Magazine hours. We'll just be working double, and that's okay. But at some point, we would love to hire a bar manager. And then we're looking to increase sales year to year by 8 to 10%. We welcome any questions once Rachel goes.
Right, hello. Well, we all know that the big gifts are the most fun to open. Would you like to watch your child's face light up as they come upon their 15-foot present? Have you ever struggled with what gift to give mom and dad who just don't need any more stuff? If you answered yes, then Letter the Lawn might be in your future. We deliver personalized yard greetings to Mandan and Bismarck. And when you book with us, we set up a display in the recipient's yard, spelling out your custom message with our 18-inch letters. Then we come back and pick up the rental later that evening. It's as easy as pie. The idea of lawn decoration is not new, though it is to some in our area, where this idea has been bigger in the South, where frozen ground isn't an issue. But with our stands, we celebrate year-round. When someone wants to book with us, they head to letterthelawn.com, click on the booking tab, fill out a form, and pay right through the website. Let me tell you just for a moment why I got into this business. The short version, it's my kids. Here are my twins at 11 months old. We have always loved birthdays at our house, and we were so excited to celebrate the first birthday of our long-awaited babies. We sent out invitations, we bought them outfits, but 1 month later, we only celebrated one of our children turning 1. My son, Anders, died unexpectedly in an unsafe sleep situation at daycare in 2019. I left my job as a middle school art teacher to spend time with my daughter. Whoops. Uh-oh. There we go. After starting this business, we were grateful to be able to help others visually represent the truth that has become the core of both our business and our personal lives. Life is worth celebrating. So how did I get this idea? Well, a few years ago, a cousin of mine posted a photo of her son on his first day of kindergarten, and there was this awesome giant sign wishing him a great first day. And I thought it was just the coolest. I wondered if there was something like that here. A quick Google search confirmed there was not. And I was bummed, and I shoved the whole moment to the back of my brain. And after the birth of my youngest son, my sleep-deprived brain retrieved this fun memory late one night, and I couldn't let it go. And after a winter of researching and preparing, we were all in and open for business by May of 2020. So let's talk about who celebrates with us. We know from research that 100% of people have birthdays. But we know that the people that book with us are mostly moms, grandmas, and people shopping for gifts for seniors. Our biggest celebrations are those milestone birthdays, anniversaries, and retirements. Let me tell you a quick story about Marv and Wendy. These two lovebirds were married 50 years ago. Their daughter booked a display with us this fall to celebrate their anniversary. And Marv and Wendy liked it so much that they put a photo of it on 30 bottles of wine. These folks know how to celebrate. They're maybe your folks too, right? Since we opened 9 months ago, we've generated $46,000 in sales. We've spent $173.18 in advertising since opening. That money was spent solely on Facebook and Instagram ads, and word of mouth is huge for us. We held off on advertising this winter much because we were in uncharted waters with the weather, and we wanted to see how things turned out. This winter ended up being quite mild, but even with those harsh days, we would be comfortable increasing the number of our daily displays next year. When I started, I hoped to place 12 displays throughout the course of the summer, roughly one a week. A little over 1 week in, I had already met my goal. I ended up placing over 200 displays last summer, and right now we're at 448 orders since opening. Last summer, I burned both ends of the candle right down to the very middle. I needed to hire someone, but I put it off because I was drowning in both daily tasks from my business and taking care of my kiddos. I'm I'm thrilled that last month we hired an amazing installer, and I'm looking to hire more seasonal help this summer, especially for graduation, which is my industry's busiest season. And I'm looking to add more help for next winter too. Adding help is my biggest challenge right now, and with very early mornings and late night hours, all types of weather conditions, this creative endeavor is not for the faint of heart. Installers need to be able to work with an array of challenges that pop up in yards, everything from rocks and sand to steep hills and a tiny little patch of grass. Oftentimes, stakes need to be replaced to different heights. It's 4 a.m., time to make design decisions. We need to think about how we want to add reliable workers who will have a make-it-work attitude and an appreciation for celebration. My team currently includes my installer, Julie, and in a supportive role, my husband, and my mother-in-law, who's an accountant, and my mentor, Chris Andale, whom I contacted 4 months before our launch. She's been in the yard card industry in Texas for over 20 years. The next phase of our plan is to purchase a pre-owned van that could better accommodate the daily demand for displays. Due to the size of my Toyota RAV4, our daily display limit is 3 a day in the summer and 2 a day in the winter. With the larger vehicle, I could add more displays per day. Other long-term plans include servicing Lincoln by hiring an installer for that area and potentially expanding to other cities in North Dakota. We've been approached by others about other locations, but are not sure exactly how to go about this, and if it's something that really fits our family right now, we want to celebrate others as much as we can and learn how to balance this with celebrating the everyday moments at home with our kids. When someone is celebrated with a display, it's not just the recipient who celebrates, it's the community. Our world is desperate for positivity, and it's heartwarming to hear story after story of recipients who have been brought to tears by their loved ones celebrating them with a display from us. Let of the Lawn is helping to draw our caring community even closer. I'm looking forward to hearing from this community, and as someone who's new to the business world, I'm eager to learn all that I can. Thank you.
Grab the chair, if you will. There are a lot of rules here. Tyler just told me that I guess the live stream was having a little bit of an audio issue when Hannah and Carolyn were kind of going through their what their business is. So I'm going to ask them to just do a real quick one for those folks that are out online, and then we'll start passing the mug.
Yeah, so we don't know exactly when it went out, but we just, I think I would assume it's when I was kind of talking about just walking into the environment and having a totally different experience, unlike any other bar in town. We are looking at serving wine, beer, and seltzers, along with unique and seasonal bruschettas. The whole place will be Instagrammable. We'll have a fun bougie bottle list, and just kind of that like boho, very light, very fun feeling place where we want people to spend a couple hours in wine. Hopefully that does it. Hopefully.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I didn't fit any of your demographics, but is it okay that I still think it sounds fun? I was even looking at the edges of the demographic, and I just wasn't there. But I'd still go if that's okay. All right, so Peter's running mic, so if you have questions, please throw a hand up and get him. I think, Caroline, maybe you mentioned something about some mentors that were kind of giving you some feedback in this space. I'd like to hear from kind of all of you. Who has helped you get to this point along the way? People who maybe know an industry or just know business in general that have kind of given you a hand up to this point.
Yeah. Well, obviously we have great mentors from the magazine who have been in the industry for 30 years, just aren't in a competing market with us. And then we have just business mentors in general. So for this, one of the things that was hard was finding a mentor that we weren't competing with directly in Bismarck, Mandan. And after we presented, the more people heard about it, and we actually had one who is not a direct competitor, but does own and have a bar restaurant in Bismarck who offered up some great information and insight. And then we have one that's not about 2 hours away who also offered up some really great insight, which was really reassuring and fun to listen to and hear and be able to ask. It's, it's an uncomfortable conversation sometimes when you're point blank asking these money questions, and they've both been really great about it. So, yeah.
What was the question?
Just, did you have any mentors along the way or currently that have helped you, and how has that helped?
Sure. Well, my mentors are not here because there isn't anybody else that does this here, but there is a big online community of yard card business owners that are not part of a franchise, and I helped, I'm a founding member of the Yard Card Business Network, and the individual that started that was the mentor that I mentioned earlier, and she is living in Texas and has been doing this for decades and has really seen a lot in this industry. So she's kind of helped me a lot, along with hundreds of other people that are doing this elsewhere.
Cool, thank you. We have a question back here, Mike.
By the way, congratulations on making the finals for the business challenge pitch. For the ladies, where's your wine bar going to be at?
So we plan on being in the Lakewood area of Mandan, so next to like the strip mall with Grand Junction, Sweatco, and then there's a strip mall that goes, is it perpendicular?
It goes east to west.
East to west, where Edward Jones is, and we plan on being in one of those middle slots.
Cool. And I think you mentioned the other night that the landlord is willing to do some build out for you and kind of give you some support there, which is super helpful.
Yep.
Cool. And Rachel, along those same lines, I assume, are you operating out of your house? Do you have like a garage full of big letters?
Yes, I do. I have a garage full of big letters, and right now they're okay there. They're slowly taking over more and more of the garage, but it's all right for right now.
And it spells different things every day when you're in there, probably just randomly, right? That's got to be kind of fun. Yes, Cody.
Rachel, I guess my question kind of piggybacks off of Evan's, but do you have like a software that you have to use on your computer? Do you cut the letters yourself? Do you order all the different letters and themes? Just kind of how the process is of how somebody may order the yard signs to how they're made to then the process of you putting them out on the lawn.
Sure. Well, I order most of my signs from other yard card vendors in the United States. So like Iowa, Florida, Alaska, Texas are kind of the big ones. And then I've had a couple things done here in town. I have a vinyl cutting machine at home, and I can make some simple signs, and that's not something that I advertise a ton because I want to use what I have, and that doesn't make the most sense to make a ton of custom pieces, but I can. And sometimes if people want something special and they have that really fun, quirky, unique interest that this person has, then I'll offer that they can purchase a custom sign from me, and I'll make something small for them.
Cool. Scott?
Hi, got a question about your mentor in Texas. So you said she's been doing this for about 10 years?
20.
20 years, okay. How big is her business, and do you look at that as kind of a growth cap for you? How big do you think this can be based on what you're seeing in the industry?
Sure. I don't actually know all the ins and outs of like exactly what she's done, but I know, she has a team of people, and and she has like just that area. I don't necessarily want to do exactly what she's done or what some of these other people have done. I'm kind of trying to figure it out. I'm trying to figure out how big I want this to be and how much of my life I want it to suck up. I want it to grow, but I don't want it to get out of control. I'm trying to kind of find that balance right now.
Sounds like it's on its way to out of control, though, from your original projections, which is a good problem. You can bring more people in and help carry some of that load. I guess we're all here because of the Mandan Pitch Challenge. So I want to hear from you guys a little bit about what that process was like and kind of what you think about that particular competition and how it's helped and just advice you might give to anybody that would consider participating next year.
I mean, I think both of us, when I speak for us, I think that it was a great experience. Really easy to follow as far as we had a lot of help and training. I know Tyler was a huge help with coaching us and helping organize kind of our thoughts and with financials. So I thought it was a wonderful experience for us. And whoever's thinking about doing it, do it, because it kind of pushed us into taking that leap and putting some stuff together too.
I would have to say the same thing. I was so grateful for all of the coaching, and I thought all of the timelines for different things made sense, getting things ready and kind of polished up before the final pitch. I can't remember to say. I don't know. I'm grateful. I thought it was really great. And it's something that, day to day, I'm just trying to get the sign ready for tomorrow. And I'm often just thinking about the short term. And it was nice to be able to think about the big picture and really my business as a whole and just stop and look at that. And I liked that that challenge considered all the parts.
Cool. Sounds like time well spent. Shania.
I have so many questions. All right, so what I'm going to do, since I have the mic, I'm going to ask one of you, but I'm going to ask different questions because I think you're both in very different places. So Rachel, for you, I think you're a first-time business owner, right? So from you, I'd love to hear what has been, you probably went in with maybe some preconceived notions or some thoughts about what it would like. What has been the biggest happy surprise of having your own business, and maybe what's been kind of the thing that keeps you up at night? All right? And so think on that for a second. And then for you two, because you are more serial entrepreneurs, what do you think is going to be your biggest obstacle? As you look at putting this thing together and really making it go, is it physical space? Is it marketing? Is it, what is it? Or is it just the number of hours in the day? Because I know you two, and you have to sleep sometimes.
I honestly, once this gets starting, I think for me, the biggest challenge is going to be finding the right people to hire as far as serving. I know that industry is really hard to find good help. And so I think our biggest concern is just finding the right people to help us make this happen.
Yeah, and that's exactly what our mentors have said as well. Just solidifying that servers and finding servers is very difficult. We have some great people that support Bismarck Magazine who have already texted or walked up and said, so we're serving wine now? And we're like, maybe. So we'll see. Yeah, yeah, exactly.
For me, I think the most surprising thing was like, oh, I can do this. I say it's kind of just a right brain up here. It's not so much one for the numbers and one for all of that side of things, but it turns out if you just try really hard and talk to a lot of people and read a lot, then you can figure it out. And so just the idea that all of that business side of things is working out is reassuring, and also just the everyday text, just this was so awesome, they really love their sign, that kind of thing has really been a joy. And what keeps me up at night, I have no trouble sleeping. I don't sleep a lot, and so by the time I go to bed, I'm like, yes, and then time to get up. Just with the hours, like I said, the burning the candle at both ends, trying to get stuff ready and then get up early and do that. I guess more just kind of the long-term things are the things that I'm thinking about the most.
Cool. David.
So both of your business concepts seem to be very experience-oriented, towards different experiences. We got a little bit of a story on your end for the inspiration behind the experience that gave you that sort of like, I need to bring this to town, to my town. I'm curious if you guys maybe have a similar story about an experience you had in some other place that you were like, we need this in our town, and let's make it happen because someone needs to do it, kind of a thing.
Yeah, that's exactly how it happened. So we were on a girls' trip in Scottsdale, Arizona, and walked into this really small, super cute wine bar. And we looked at it and saw how full it was. And both of us have just remodeled some homes. And so we were like, wow, this is doable. We could do this by ourselves.
Maybe not quite by ourselves, but the concept was
easily replicated.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, and it was just fun to be there with girlfriends, and then you just watched girls, come and go, and like just fascinating. Like I feel like I ended up not even talking that much to my girlfriends because I was just like, you know, taking everything in. They just had so many. It was really a cool place.
Everybody was taking photos.
Yeah,
Like
it was
everybody. They weren't even
obnoxious.
talking to each other.
Yeah.
Everybody was just worried about taking a photo.
Yeah. But no, and I mean, it was just, yeah, it was a really cool place, and we saw it, and we were just like, man, this is, again, something that this area doesn't have, but I think that people would really enjoy. Obviously, Scottsdale is a way different market than Bismarck, North Dakota, and Mandan. And they are filled with, you know, bachelorette parties and stuff like that, something that we wouldn't necessarily expect. But I think the most exciting thing for me is that if someone has a bachelorette party and they don't get to go to Scottsdale, they still have a place that they can come to in Mandan and have just as great of a celebration.
Got to make sure you have charging stations then too for all the devices.
Yeah.
If the batteries run out. Let's talk a little bit about, you know, balance. You all have other things going on, family and other businesses, and so talk about how these pieces fit together with what you're currently doing and what you're doing to make that fit.
So when this is all up and going, we plan on moving the Bismarck Magazine office to this location. Part of the build out will be a small office space so that we can combine both businesses, and then our hours will be different. So once we finish up with Bismarck Magazine, because we love it, it's not going anywhere, and then we'll be able to transition into Wine More. And luckily none of us have kids right now, so it's pretty easy to be able to or easier to do these things without kids.
And I think once we learn like the flow of traffic on like a Wednesday and a Thursday, you know, maybe she goes home on Wednesdays and I go home on Thursdays, you know, and then maybe we're both there on weekends, you know, we'll figure it out. It's we've always done that, just gone and, you know, figure it out as we go. So I think it'll end up being okay.
For me, kind of that sweet spot has been having somebody do pickups for me at night. So that way, you know, I like setting up the displays in the morning. I like everything about it, the peace and the being outside, all of that. But I can only do so many, you know, I can only get up so early in the day and still function. And I do want to hire more people to install in the summer, but especially just having somebody do pickups, then I can just put my kids to bed and not have to be as annoyed when they come out 800 times, you know, then it's like, it's okay, I don't have anywhere to go, you know. Yeah, that's really where it's at for me.
Cool. Trying to think about what some of the Bismarck Magazine changes might be now that it's officing in a wine bar. That could be, could get some interesting stuff. All right. Yes, Peter.
A question for those that maybe aren't as familiar with the Mandan Pitch Challenge. So what are next steps? I think you guys are finalists, if I understand correctly, but what are next steps? And I guess what can you win if you do end up being the final?
You got the big winner right there.
Okay.
It's done.
Okay. That's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we presented last week, what was it, Wednesday?
Wednesday.
Yeah, so there were 4 finalists, just to explain that a little bit. There were 4 finalists and 4 different presentations, and Hannah and I took 3rd place, and Rachel's the big winner.
Yay. The biggest prize is the chance to be eligible for a $10,000 forgivable loan from the Mandan Growth Fund. And then there are a whole host of other prizes. I just wrote a whole bunch of thank you notes to many businesses in Mandan and Bismarck that offered either services or cash prizes.
And I think you had something definitely in mind to do with that forgivable loan right off the bat, right?
Yes. Yeah, we're looking to get a larger vehicle to accommodate more displays per day, and then long-term thinking about having a storage unit in South Mandan so that we could have somebody service the south area of both sides of the river.
Cool. And I was sitting by Marlo Anderson at the event last week, and he definitely talked to her afterwards, you know, that whole concept of celebration, and so don't know what's going to come of that, but it's just another one of those examples of these connections that get made at these events. And it's one of the things I really like about both of these businesses is that they're just fun, you know. I guess I'm a little bit curious with you two is, I think it was at the Bismarck Magazine 5-year celebration, maybe you talked about, you just kind of hinted towards like this big thing. Was this it? Or is there another yet bigger thing out on the horizon?
Well,
Or can
I'll
you
let
say?
you answer that one.
I was waiting to see if she was going to go for it. To be honest, no, it's not what we were talking about in the video. This kind of, this has been something that she and we went last September to Scottsdale, and that's since then is kind of when we started thinking about it. I think that was filmed last, July, so 2 months later then we learned of this concept. So no, there is something else.
This will offer a lot
You
of
don't have-
experience, though.
And one thing that I love about what we do is everything always seems to complement each other and work really well together. And this will, and then that will. This almost is a really good stepping stone towards doing because this business will be incorporated with that business a little bit, just learning some of these, liquor laws. And I mean, this is a whole different thing we've never touched.
And we said we never would.
Yeah, and
Here
we said
are.
we never would. So this will help us learning liquor laws. We've met with 3 different distributors, 2 in Bismarck, 1 in Fargo. We have put in a ton of time into all that stuff that we had no clue about, and that's all leading up towards
The next thing.
this thing. If it happens, you never know.
Wow. Well, there was no lack of ambition either in all of you, all 3 of you, and that's such an important key to having a successful business. So there's no question in my mind why you guys are as successful as you are. Another question in the front.
I'm always curious when they're startup businesses, the timeline from conception to when you were able to officially announce that this was a business and start. So for both of you, what maybe that timeline, I know you guys just talked about you were there in September last fall. So I mean, that happened pretty fast.
Mm-hmm.
And then just, obviously research has to be done before you can officially open a business as well as get a name and all of that. So just curious how long that took.
For me, I mentioned I had heard of it, years ago, and then thought about it, and then I remember at Christmas, not this one, we just had the one before, telling my family, hey, I have this idea and I kind of want to do it. And then I had I don't know, 3 to 6 month old, I had a pretty small baby, and I was I don't know if this is the great time for this, but then he'll be older in the summer, I don't know. And then when the pandemic struck, I was man, I would really love to help all these people with these birthdays who can't have anybody over celebrate. And that was just the tipping point for me. I was I got to do this. And I'm not super risky, so I really wanted to make sure it was going to be okay. And by the time I dove in, so had many other people around the country. And then the very few companies that existed that were vendors of the letters and whatnot were just overwhelmed with orders. And so a company that normally has a 2 to 3 day turnaround had 6 weeks in turnaround. And so by the time I got my stuff, it was the weekend of graduation, and that's when we ended up starting. So it ended up being a long time waiting for things to ship. But yeah, that's what mine was.
So we're both pretty risky, I think.
And we make decisions
plan
really fast.
We make decisions really fast, and we're not afraid of risk. But that being said, we also plan a lot, and we aren't going to do something unless we really believe in it and think it will succeed. That being said, I know Drive didn't make it through the pandemic, but nobody really saw that one coming. And with Wine More, we had known that after that trip, it was something we really wanted to bring to the Bismarck Mandan community. And after continually thinking about it, and then after this past year, we were we believed that it could be something.
Yeah, with Drive being taken off our plate, it opened up a little bit more time again. And to be more specific, Bismarck Magazine was 9 months, 0 to the first issue coming out. Drive was 2 months, 0 to first drive. And then this,
this one will take a little bit more time.
This will take way more time because, there's a build out included. We have great hookups with the build out and all of that stuff, but it's just going to take a little more time. It's just a bigger investment. It'll be our biggest investment ever. So initial investment. So we'll see what happens.
And for those that don't know, the Drive was a car service that these two put together. A very, very nice car service. In any market, it would have been considered very nice. And you guys really did a nice job with that. And it was through no fault of your own that it's no longer with us. But there were some tears shed at our house when we got that email. But you guys really did a nice job with that.
Thank you.
Shania.
All right, here we go, me again. So I think there are a lot of folks that are often in our 1MC audiences that are either current entrepreneurs, but a lot of them may also be aspiring entrepreneurs and just haven't, there may be toes over the edge of the ledge and just haven't gone whoop over the side. So if you had to offer up a single piece of best advice that you would have to someone who is thinking about taking that leap based on the collective wisdom on this stage, what would that piece of advice be?
I'd say find somebody to push you. I always feel like I need that, like best friend by my side saying, you know what, just go for it. And somebody whose opinion you value, find somebody who has some wisdom and that will encourage you.
Yeah, I feel like we egg each other on. So yes, find yourself one of those and it'll get dangerous.
And what's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, but we also preface this question a lot with, we aren't married, we don't have children, we had cell phone bills and some student loans, what was the worst that could happen? Hannah kept her job at Target. I had just bought and sold a house that I had remodeled in Fargo, so I was able to make it work. We went years without a paycheck, things that people can't necessarily do when you're trying to support a family. So we always have to preface that answer with that. So
I think there's a nice nugget there for all the friends and families of people who are thinking about starting something too, and that's how important that positive reinforcement and that little nudge is. And I don't know if it's just the risk aversion that we have here in general in this part of the country, but sometimes it's the opposite that you get. Like, are you kidding me? That'll never work. Keep your day job. All of that kind of stuff at a time when really all you want to hear is, go for it. So that's for all of you. Be good coaches and mentors. Looks like we have is this you, Kirsten, or is this online?
No, this is,
okay.
We've got a social media question from Lila. For Letter the Lawn, have you considered franchising? What's your outlook on it? Maybe where are you at with it?
I haven't really considered it a lot. I know people do it. It just, in my mind, it sounds like a lot right now, and I think I haven't given it a ton of thought, partially because there are franchises that do this out there, and so in my mind, they could do that, but I know, why not make it Letter the Lawn, because it's great. But it is something that I need to think about, and I just don't know a lot about it.
can I ask her a question? Well, who's your closest in proximity? Does Fargo, does Minot, Grand Forks, anyone else have anything like this yet?
Fargo has a franchise, Sign Gypsies, and this week, 2 people have contacted me. One said she's starting one in Grand Forks, and one said she's interested in starting one in Minot. But throughout the summer, last summer, people would say, oh, when are you going to bring this to Minot? When are you going to bring this to Dickinson? And I was like, I don't know. I didn't even know I was going to bring this beyond our neighborhood. You know, it was, yeah.
Cool.
And for one more, are there ways that you've considered making employment with you a little bit more sweet? Because it sounds like that's going to be a pain point.
Oh gosh, sweet as in sweeten the deal? No.
We're
not going to cross that bridge.
No,
yet.
we've already had that discussion of, we're never drinking there, we're never being seen drinking there. Our employees are not allowed to touch that. There will be cameras everywhere.
We've heard a lot of horror stories from
yeah.
not only mentors, but friends who own bars. And
Yep.
we just believe that there needs to be a professional line, and it won't be crossed.
And we did find out too that so you can get 5 pours out of 1 bottle of wine, and the biggest way of stealing is overpouring. Basically, is having your servers, that's their friend, so then they give you 8 ounces instead of 5, and so it's not like blatant taking and grabbing something, but it's that overpouring.
Cool.
So no, sorry, it won't be that sweet, but we'd still love to have you.
Well, I think I met Rachel's employee the other night too, and she sounded like she was really excited about this opportunity.
Yeah, she's all in. It's fun to have somebody who's excited about celebrating too.
She said in the morning it's kind of boring because no one's up, but when she's taking the signs down, she's had a lot of good interactions with the customers and with the families. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, if there aren't last chance for a question. Going once? All right. Well, thank you guys for bringing all of your energy and talent and doing what you do. It's really exciting stuff. As you probably know, we always ask the same last question, and I'm going to let Peter do that for us today. So, Peter?
Sure, yeah, and congrats for being finalists with the Pitch Challenge, and thanks for joining us this morning. But we always ask the same last question, what can we do as the Bismarck Mandan 1 Million Cups community to help you guys succeed in your path forward?
When we open, come drink some wine.
Yeah, and social media marketing will be huge for us, so make sure you get that selfie or group photo and tag us.
And when you have something to celebrate, come check us out. And if you have experience, expanding a business, come talk to me.
Excellent. Let's give it up for these guys. All right, here's what we got coming up in the next 3 Wednesdays. We've got Bisman Food Co-op coming up next week, and then we've got a podcast panel that should be an awful lot of fun, and then Everlasting Hope coming up on April 21st. So we hope to see you at all of those. Also, if you would like to present, or if you know somebody that might want to be up on stage and kind of get the benefit of all of this, please go out to millioncups.com/Bisman and sign up. It's super easy. The organizing committee gets an email. We look at it. We make contact. There's a lot of hand-holding. We help you through the process. And it's not really scary, is it, guys? See? All right. Thanks so much. You guys have a great week.